Had a bridge that came apart on her, and so she's got a mouth that won't work right now. And I'm actually in jury duty today, so I convinced the lady to let me out of there 15 minutes early so I could get over here and pay our bill and get out of here. So without any further ado, I'm going to have Shannon introduce Richard again. Thank you very much for coming back a second time and finishing up your original piece. And then we are at this point, it does not look like we'll have enough for another deal makers forum, because I think the interest has kind of waned on that. If we decide that there is more interest later on, then we'll be happy to crank that up. But we really need about minimum 8, probably 10 to break even on that, and we certainly don't want to keep people out doing something on a weeknight that's not valuable to them. So we will let you know if we restart that again this next 2 weeks from now. Betty's asked for people's input if they wanted to do that or not, so we'll see how the response comes from that. Other than that, Shannon, it's all yours.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
We'll see you again next week, because I'm going to pay the bill and get back to jury duty before they send out a bench warrant.
Yeah, I know. That's what we talked about. We could use a recorded arrest warrant for you.
That's all you need.
Exactly.
See you guys later. Thanks so much again, Richard.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks. I wish I could stay.
Basically, I'm very proud to introduce Richard Samuelian the last time, and just as I am this time. We've worked together now since 2006, when I was first looking around for a high-quality appraiser to do a high-end construction home project that I was looking at. And Richard did a phenomenal job. I knew he would, based on the referrals I'd received and based on what everyone had said about him. And it's really great because Richard, in addition to his professional skills, offers great teaching skills, and you're about to see that. So what he did is, back in February, he came and he spoke for a better part of about 2 hours. So today, Richard's going to continue on the rest of his discussion and also take questions for a Q&A session. That may be the most valuable information of all. So once again, without further ado, Richard Samuelian of RS Appraisals.
Thanks, Shannon. Don't let the 2-hour thing scare you. We'll get you out of here. Before that, we're just finishing up the latter part of the presentation I gave last time, and then we'll do some questions and answers. I know Shannon's got quite a few of them. Why don't you just go to where you think we left off last time, Shannon, and then if you want to scroll through the presentation afterwards, if some of you weren't here last time and you have questions about some things, hopefully it's something we covered last go-around. I was given about 1,000 different topics to speak on in about an hour, so it went pretty quick. But we didn't get a chance to go into a lot of detail on some of that stuff.
Yeah, why don't you start right about here, because this is a common discussion thread that we've been talking about all along anyway. Is this okay in this slide here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Is there such a thing as a new normal value for properties given the drag from distressed properties? In fact, somebody asked me that right before we started here.
I was thinking.
And it was specifically phrased, what are the foreclosures and the short sales doing market value? And the quick and easy answer is, obviously when you have lower price sales, they're dragging the normal, the average, the median for the neighborhood down. So yeah, you can have a lower median home price or a lower, what's typical for the area. Realtors like to speak in price per square foot, which appraisers don't like, but you can have that affect your price per square foot if that's one of your metrics that you use to come up with what homes are selling for. The larger context question is, how is condition a factor? In other words, if you still have your normal home that's in normal condition, how much of it is the market that's changed, and how much of it is the either the distressed nature of the sale, that the lender or the private person who's doing a short sale had to get rid of that property in a short period of time, so they discounted the sale, versus how much of it is condition. And that's very difficult to delineate how much of it is condition related. The newest batch of foreclosures that we're seeing are not in as bad of condition when they go back for resale. They're still as bad when they get taken back by the lending institution, but a lot of the lenders are authorizing the paint, the carpet, fix them up so that they get, I wouldn't say top dollar, but they get a better price for them. They're realizing that that's money well spent. So you're not having so much of the condition with a lot of the foreclosure properties. Short sales are totally a different ball game. I'm sure some of you deal with it from the headache side, the sales side of it. But to have a short sale totally is dependent on what the lender comes up with on the other side. We've had lenders that wouldn't accept 10% under market value, and we've got lenders that will take, seems like 1 penny on the dollar just so that they don't have to take it back in foreclosure. It completely runs the gamut, so it's very difficult to tell how much of it is a distressed sale. You almost have to know the motivation behind every single individual sale. But as a general rule, yeah, the foreclosures and the short sales are bringing property values down. That's part of our market, if you want to say collapse or correction or whatever your term is for it, and the other is the condition and the distressed nature of the sale. We went into published statistics last time. It's a little bit long, but published statistics are frequently very, very wrong for particularly for a particular property. In most of the published statistics, if you see them through sources like a DQ News or even some of the real estate, Insider Realtor related sites, even some appraisers use them, they're aggregating the whole of Fresno County into one lump sum bin. I mean, the $1 million properties are totally different than the $100,000 properties. The bluff properties are very different from the parlor and the Huron properties. You have the mass, which skews the minority. So if you have a mass, it's very common for the county, statistics tend to be a little bit more accurate. But if you're dealing with a minority property and you're dealing with statistics that were taken from the mass of the county, you're probably going to have some skewed results on that. I don't like any of the published statistics. I do my own primary research. It's nothing that you guys can't do if you have access to the MLS. I'm pulling like properties from that neighborhood, that market segment. Neighborhood, it tends to be a little more well-defined. Sometimes you have to expand the neighborhood to, say if you were doing Woodward Park, Woodward Lake area, you might say your neighborhood was Woodward Park. You might not generate enough statistics, which typically is about 30, to generate some meaningful trend analysis. You might have to expand to say, okay, it's northeast Fresno, maybe we'll go out to Chestnut, maybe we'll go out to Willow, but we'll get newer homes, similar quality, similar age, trying to eliminate things like the view and that really skew the results. And then I plot all of these on an Excel spreadsheet. You just download them from the MLS, put them right into the spreadsheet, and you draw a trend line. That way you know your trend line is specific to the market area that you're working in and the type of property that you have. And so often what happens is you come up with a trend line that is extraordinarily different than what your published statistics are for that area. Not always better, sometimes worse, but it's more accurate. And if you really want to know about the accuracy of your trend line, when you add your trend line in Excel, you can look at your R-squared value. I know this is kind of eggheady stuff, but the R-squared value tells you how much of the deviation in your, or how much of the variance in your samples that line is explaining. So if you had like an R-squared value of 0.05, your line is explaining about 5% of the variation, which is pretty weak, but you don't tend to find them up in the 60–70% range. They tend to be a little weaker. But it gives you some metric for accurately delineating what is happening in that neighborhood. Most of the questions I get are not so much what's happening in the broader market as they are what's happening here, or what's happening there, or what's happening with this price range or that price range. And I always tell people to make sure your statistics match what you're trying to find out.